How many hearts have you broken with those great big beautiful eyes? Those great big beautiful eyes that tell such beautiful lies.
How many times have you kissed somebody like you kissed me then? I don't.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all ships at sea. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an important message from the Prepared Mind Network.
There it is, everyone. Welcome to Sunday Night Live. It is the Zoo. We went through a hell of a week last week. I've had a hell of a weekend. I hope you actually got some sort of rest and relaxation, but it is Sunday night. And that means, folks, you guys, you get to decide where this show goes. We take YouTube, we take Patreon, we cram it together, we call it the Zoo. And basically, it's a 2-hour blockbuster extravaganza of what you want to talk about. Now, I've got a literal shit pile, an SHTF shit pile of stuff to talk about, but you guys get to direct the show and ask the questions and see what the hell I think. Probably going to be somewhat in line with what you think, but you guys can also, you ask questions, you can make a statement. All you have to do is hit that super chat button up there. And your donations go to the GTFB and SB. That's the Get the Fuck Back and Stay Back, John, in the United States of America. No hanging out, no goofing around. Well, not too much, right? In fact, I don't think that we're even allowed to goof off anymore in this country. Seems like it, but folks, I've got some great stuff for you too. And we got Jenny Jen checks in with a 1999. I'm going to party like it's 1999. If we ever get through SHTF and to the other side. Thank you. And Jenny says, Semper Fi, brother. Thank you, Jenny. Semper Fi to you and the family and everybody back home. Boy, I tell you, I don't know if there's an end to the questions and the comments about what the fuck is happening right now in this country. But I got a couple of good places I'd like to start. And as usual, I've got special hotlines open to those special people. To get on that special list, folks, it ain't easy. It ain't easy. But I want to start off. Folks, we're already at 220, within just a couple of minutes, 220 people watching the show. I think we just tied President Biden for his speech the other day. Even though, no one wants to hear what he has to say, we all ended up hearing all about it. What does he say? Mandates, mandates, mandates. Well, this popped up. Governor DeSantis down there over in Florida, he decided to respond to President Gigi Biden's mandate. And here's the quote: "In Florida, we will fight back." So on September 10th, the Biden administration lost big when the First District Court of Appeal reinstated Governor DeSantis's ban on school mask requirements. And this is what the court says, that they have serious doubts about the federal government's standing, the federal government's jurisdiction, and other threshold matters. But they're going to litigate it. They're going to go through it. But for now, hey, DeSantis, you're back on board. So get some ideas, folks. There's going to be a lot of fighting. Now, with response to the cerveza bug, Jim Jones juice mandate, this is what DeSantis's spokesman said. And listen closely. "School busing mandates are unscientific, ineffective, and fundamentally wrong." Okay, now, while speaking to the media the next day, DeSantis noted how President Gigi Biden, has been critical of Florida's Parents' Bill of Rights. And it's just incredible that DeSantis went after him the way he did. This is what he thinks is appropriate government, yet he institutes an unprecedented mandate, which even his own people have acknowledged in the past is not constitutional. That's not leadership. He's doubling down on things that are going to be very destructive for the livelihoods of many, many Americans. This is the battle we're up to, folks. They think they're doing everyone a big favor. I have one more little quote having to do with Biden. The White House spectacle, meaning the mandate talk. The White House spectacle was a desperate attempt to regain control of the narrative and distract from the Biden administration's abject failures: Afghanistan, the border crisis, and the cerveza bug response. They're not pulling punches, folks. The governors that are going to fight back are going to fight back big time. They're absolutely going to fight back big time. And folks, the people are fighting back big time as well. You may have heard of an American named Laura Loomer. Sorry about that. Laura Loomer has been fighting with Twitter, Facebook, all social media, and she's been banned. So what did she do? Well, she Talibaned our good buddy there, Mr. Twitter, Jack Dorsey. She had street art of him plastered all over and all around the Twitter headquarters. And essentially it was Jack Dorsey dressed in Taliban garb, headdress, and everything else. Now, this is what she had to say. For years, I have been raising awareness about Twitter's alliance with Islamic terrorist organizations and their willingness to platform enemies of America. Now, the deplatforming is what happened to President Trump. They are willing to make a platform for the enemies of America. That's what she said. This is a concept I have referred to as Silicon Sharia. As Twitter has shown, they have no problem banning millions of Americans for their constitutionally protected speech, including myself and sitting President Donald Trump during the elections, while they happily provide a platform for recruitment and propaganda for actual terrorists. That's what she said in a statement. I don't think she could have said it any better, any more succinctly, and even put in some frickin' comedy for us, right? Now, for those who don't know, Sharia is Islamic law, Sharia law. Silicon Valley is where these turds all live, right? And that's where they promote their social media empires and run them from. So Silicon Sharia and Taliban. So yeah, people are fighting back. They're doing what they can, folks. They're doing what they can to bring to public awareness what is going on. Frankie Rios checks in with a $5 super chat. Folks, if you want your question, your statement, your smart-ass remark, if you want me to read it and address it, you just hit that super chat button up here, make a donation into the GTFB fund, and I'll make you famous. So Frankie Rios wants to be famous with a $5 super chat. Says, what did people think would be the end result of Operation Paperclip? We know now enough of what has been hidden. I advise all to find their resolve. Okay, so this is going to require a little bit of work here, Frankie. Thank you so much. Operation Paperclip was a United States military operation that occurred at the end of World War II in order to bring back German and Nazi scientists from the theater of war. They smuggled them back to the United States. Operation Paperclip. They brought back secret police, Gestapo, that sort of thing. People in the intelligence, because they wanted intelligence information on the Russians. They brought back scientists like, Joseph Mengele types. They brought back rocket scientists. Most notable of all is Wernher von Braun, who went on to head the American space race program. That's right, the Apollo program and the Gemini, Mercury programs, all were developed under Wernher von Braun, an SS Nazi officer who returned under Operation Paperclip. Now, the biological and chemical sciences. Have we seen any problems with those lately? Right? Yeah. So the comment made by Frankie Rios here. We know now enough of what has been hidden. The tactics used by the Nazis, we're seeing them play out right now. Right now. Psychological operations, false flag operations, the divide, dehumanize, and then destroy operations that the Nazis and the communists used are being deployed right now at full strength, full speed ahead. So Frankie says, I advise all to find their resolve. You might ask, what do you mean by resolve? I think I can answer that. We all need to make this decision, folks. Where is the courage of our convictions? What do we believe, and how strongly do we believe it? That is, I think, exactly what is being spoken of here. Our resolve, courage of your convictions. Are you resolved? Are you mentally confirmed? Do you know where you're at with respect to what has happened to our country? We see what's happened with 9/11. We see what's been happening with Cerveza-Bug. We see what's happening with Dr. Dumbass. We see what's happening with the Democrat Party and the entire left wing of the country and the federal bureaucracy. We've seen it. We've seen it all. Anyways, thank you, Frankie, for the donation. And let us move on. Holy cow, we're up over 500 already. Redbeard's Racing does a $5 super chat donation. Thank you, Redbeard. He says, the Surgeon General has alluded to Biden announcing more mandates. Yes, indeed. Ooh, I've got that one right here. No, that was different. Here we are. There we are. But wait, there's more. That's the title I held this one under. But wait, there's more. Here we go. U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy on Sunday, which means today, said that Joe Biden is going to announce new Cerveza-Bug measures ahead, meaning before, his meeting with the United Nations on Tuesday. So there we have it, folks. Thursday, Friday, we get a bunch of crap out of Biden. We're going to get even more out of him on Tuesday. Now, Joe Biden last week announced a federal mandate and ordered businesses with 100 employees or more to get their workers on the Jim Jones juice, or fire them, or pay fines, or have them tested weekly. Now, the Surgeon General of the United States government of America, right? He said that Biden's going to unveil more actions in the days ahead, especially on the global front. He says the president will be making announcements ahead of the UN General Assembly about additional measures that we're taking to help vaccinate the world. Thank you, Joe Biden, for vaccinating the whole world. Folks, had enough tyranny yet? Remember, Biden is the great uniter of the nation, and he will not stop, right? And will do as he is told by the Illuminati, so their great reset and new world order can begin. Biden doesn't probably know what state he's in. He's probably got an ice cream cone in his hand. He's a national and an international embarrassment. Incredible. This guy is absolutely incredible. But yeah, he's going to make more statements. So, they're not his statements, folks. They're not even his speechwriter's statements. They are the orders that are being handed out from on high. On high. Anyways, thank you. Oh, we got Lone Wolf Prepper with a $5 super chat donation. He said, how would you handle your Bigfoot experience now with your Marine training? Ooh, boy, that's a good one. Folks, and this is a tricky one, Lone Wolf Prepper, because he's referring to the Bigfoot experience I had, the most notably the first one I had back when I was 16. I think it was the summer of 86. Yeah, it would be the summer of 86. A long time ago. Well, I think that there's a really good chance that I would have had some firepower with me if I go camping now. And I would end up probably shooting. Now, again, I'm taking into account I don't know it's Bigfoot. I don't know what's going on. There's just a very loud animal screaming and yelling and charging at me in the middle of the night. I would probably shoot out of panic, fear, and self-defense. It's quite a horrific story. It is on YouTube here, so if you want to listen to it. A very harrowing experience. Now, if I knew it was Bigfoot, I probably, like now, if it happened, I wouldn't shoot. And I'll tell you why. Because I don't believe that I could take him down. Maybe the 12 gauge with buckshot and slugs, but everything else, I think, would just pepper him, and then he would tear me to pieces. So just a little bit of fun honesty there on the old Bigfoot. I know how terminally destructive 12 gauge shotgun buckshot is, and slugs. And they could, I think, take down a Bigfoot, but a 223, I've heard a lot of stories, folks, from people who shared with me their experiences, and it's an incredibly powerful, crazy animal. Okay, let's move away from there and on to some more. Frankie Rios with a $7.54 super chat says exactly what I meant. Something muscle to us. Okay. Thank you, Frankie Rios, for that. We've got Damian English with a $20 super chat donation. Thank you, Damien. He says, John, please help me. Democrats say 80 million or 40% of America are unvaxxed. According to 2021 census, there are just over 321 million Americans. How is 80 million 40%, or is my math that bad? I think what you're victim to here, Damien, is they use magic math in the government, which is not really math. Yeah, let's see, 40%. Yeah, their math is all wrong. Now, I've heard the number as high as 350 million Americans are alive. But I've heard it as low as, what did you put down here? 321. I've heard as low as 320, right? But as high as 350 million. How can they be off that big of a percentage? Isn't that their job, the census, to at least count heads? Oh, it disappeared. Jolene, where'd that go? Oh, thank you. The 80 million they want to talk about is the 80 million voters for Trump. Those are the ones that they want. Those are the ones that they really want to get with the hokey pokey. So they're mixing a lot of their numbers up now. They're trying to tell us that they have 70% or 80% of the people are vaccinated. Here we say 60% are, because they have 40% left and 80 million. They can't make up their mind. They can't get their numbers straight. This is part of the program, folks, is to confuse you, confuse all of us, so that when you quote their numbers, it makes no fucking sense, because you can quote another set of numbers that are totally contradictory. They make it very difficult. And this is no bullshit. They make it difficult to quote their numbers by putting out various numbers with different bureaucratic institutions. So you're like, well, which one do I quote? For example, the other day went through some numbers, and it appears that only about 50% of the country, not 60, not 70, but only about 50 have gotten the hokey pokey. And the numbers are dropping off. People aren't wanting to do it. Anyways, your math is not bad, man. It is their numbers. And statistics and numbers can be used to present facts, and statistics and analysis can be used to lie to us and mislead us. It depends on the intent. It depends on the narrative, the agenda of the speaker. You know, my agenda, and I've told you guys before in the past, my agenda is to get everyone prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Have a plan. Go to thepreparedmind.club. to get what you need or get it anywhere else on the planet. I don't care. Just get prepared. It is absolutely critical at this point. The troubles we're seeing. I've gotten reports, several reports this weekend, including pictures, folks. Pictures of supermarket shelves in various parts of the country, not everywhere. There's no panic. Just, hey, look at this one store in my area. It doesn't have any meat. Hey, look at this one store in my area. They're out of rice. So there's interesting things going on. Fuel prices skyrocketing, meat prices skyrocketing. Interesting things going on. All right, let's see. If we don't have a super chat, I got one hell of a good one for you guys. Now, Joe Biden has been called, well, we were told back before the election that Donald Trump is the divider and Joe Biden, President Gigi Biden, will be the uniter. Well, he has done nothing but divide the country, and divide the country. But there's one area that he's finally succeeded at in uniting. Are you ready for this? Yankees and Mets fans. That's right. New York Yankees, New York Mets. They all joined together. They all united together to chant, "Fuck Joe Biden," as they left Saturday's game. So, yeah, he's finally managed to unite some of the biggest, you could say, fans that actually just don't give a shit about each other. Yankees fans and Mets fans are no fans of one another. But they could certainly come together and agree on one thing, and that is fuck Joe Biden. All right. I really hope everyone is rested up over the weekend. Got some rest, got in some fresh air. And I want to thank Mr. T for the video presentations. I hope you guys have been enjoying them. I'm getting a lot of commentary to the positive. The new video presentations are actually really, really fun, really good, and effective. Now, Joe Biden is not a good uniter, but he united fans. Well, we got two owls with a $3 super sticker. Thank you, two owls. The Democrats aren't very good at anything, but let's talk about something that they might be associated with that they're good. And this is SHTF in a nutshell, folks. Republicans in Southern California have had trouble, folks, casting recall ballots. This is over the special recall election of Gavin Newsom, tyrant of California. Many said that they were told that they already voted, even though they had not. Isn't that interesting? Up north, where I came from, I got the information that the ballots that were sent out in the rural areas were being held by the post office because of all the fires. They make it really hard, folks. They make it really hard to believe and trust them, that they don't play games. They make it really hard, right, to believe that they have any integrity at all. Now, this week is getting nasty. And it's not just in the United States of America, folks. Something really interesting happened in Portugal. Out on the street, the people there are protesting mask mandates. The good people of Portugal, which is that little country on the Iberian Peninsula, on the southwest of Spain, right on the old Atlantic Ocean. Portuguese judge, as according to one news person, cojones muy grande. In other words, really big balls. This judge, wearing a business suit, not his black robe, wearing a business suit, confronted the police on the street for beating people who don't wear masks. And he threatened the police. And he told them, basically, get your shit together and you will not be beating on the people for not wearing masks. Folks, around the world right now, evil and good are going to come to blows. Now, I have no problem with the police beating the ever-loving shit out of criminals criminals who commit crimes, right? In order to arrest them, you may have to beat the ever-loving shit out of them. For example, a criminal is a person or a criminal group that has shut down a street, blocked traffic, smashing people's private property, assaulting people. Those are real crimes that have real damage. And I have no problem with the police arresting those people and beating them if they have to. Now, these same types of criminals that like to smash in the windows of businesses and then loot the stores, those once again are more criminals that need a good beatdown. And then criminals, of course, who set fire to stores, restaurants, businesses, automobiles, they need to be arrested. And if they resist, a good beatdown is in order. Literally standing there in protest, holding a sign that says protest on it, protesting the mask. That does not deserve a beatdown. There's just a fine line here, folks, between real crime and no crime. Or is it really that fine of a line? To me, it's a pretty obvious line. It's pretty obvious. But the idea that someone needs a beating because they refuse to wear a paper mask or a cloth mask, which has been scientifically proven to do nothing, right? I think that's what this comes down to, is there is no science. And it is literally in order to wear an article of clothing which demonstrates your fealty to the government. Okay, then. I hope you like that story. That was very interesting. Now, what's important, folks, is if you go to Patreon, patreon.com, and go to The Prepared Mind for $2 a month, 7 cents a day. $2 a month, 7 cents a day. You get all of my news links. You get all of my little opinions. You get links to videos that can never, ever be on YouTube. There are other places having to do with certain medical procedures and certain medical opinions, which I'm not allowed to share here. And so that's really what you get on Patreon, folks. You get a lot more. It is a serious premium site. But here at the zoo, I'm going to talk about everything I can. But there is that electric third rail, folks, that if I touch that, I get zapped and I'm out of here. But The Prepared Mind on Patreon, I can go all the way. All right, we got Rami Mersch with 20 euros into the super chat bin. Thank you, Rami. I hope everything is well in the Netherlands. Folks, in case you're new, and there's a lot of new people here showing up every single day. If you're new, be sure and hit subscribe on YouTube. Hit the notification bell on YouTube. Make sure those are both tapped, and then share the videos. But this is important. This is an international show. I talk about what's going on in Afghanistan, in Portugal, in France, in Spain, in Italy, in Germany, in England, in Belfast, Ireland, right? Australia also. Australia has some draconian, Hitler-esque crap going on. All right, back to Rami's super chat donation. He says, if a gold standard limits money, I don't think China backs up the yuan to gold if it limits them. Okay, this is a great topic to bring up because China is having massive economic problems. And you're saying, but wait, John, China has all the manufacturing. Well, they do. But if America is crashed and Europe is crashed, no one can buy all of the stuff that China manufactures. So China is in big trouble. Now, there was a gold standard after World War II under the Bretton Woods Agreement. Gold standard. And the United States, if you brought money to the United States, you could exchange it directly for gold, and that was the deal. But other countries started realizing there's a lot more dollars out there than they have gold in Fort Knox. So what was happening there is the printing press was turned on prior to 1971, and the French were taking advantage of it and taking all of these printed dollars and exchanging it for real wealth, which is gold, until Nixon closed the gold window, meaning until Nixon said, No longer will you, France, or any other country be able to exchange your United States dollars for United States gold. Essentially took us off the gold standard, put us on the petrodollar standard where everybody has to buy oil with US dollars. It was a switcheroo which caused massive inflation and other problems because of all those printed dollars. Now let's move forward in time, Ramey. China has a lot of gold, probably the most gold on the planet. People go, but wait a minute, the US, we're the best at everything. Well, apparently not. China's done really well at accumulating gold. Now, if they wanted to back their yuan by gold, they could do that. But would there be a gold window? Would people be able to say, okay, we're going to give you 1 billion yuan. You're going to give us 1 billion yuan worth of gold. And there's not a lot of trust or love for China, by the way. China has managed to produce a lot of tungsten-filled gold bars and gotten in trouble for it. Or was that the United States government? Can't remember. I think it was China. I think it was both. I think it's all of them. I don't trust any of them, in other words. But they can say their currency is backed by gold, but that won't, like the United States of the 1960s and then the very early 1970s, China can have a gold-backed yuan and then print all the yuan they want. Just the same way the United States did. It's just, will anyone trust China, and will anyone trust the yuan? And will anyone trust that the gold they say they have is really gold? Lots of problems out there, folks, with the monetary system. Yeah, I tell you, Ramey, I don't know what to make of this. Gold back. It does put a limit because you can only have as much currency out there as you have gold in your vault. Now, there is a two-tiered system that's also been discussed for SHTF, which is where we're at, and that is to have a gold-backed payment system for international trade, but the people within each country get their own central bank digital currency, CBDC. In other words, some sort of little Ethereum or Bitcoin, or what I like to call, if it comes out of the Federal Reserve, the Fed coin. We have to settle our debts with that, while nations use gold-backed currency or trading in gold to settle their debts, which are going to be in the millions and billions and maybe even trillions of dollars. Thank you, Ramey, very much for the excellent super chat donation. And I hope I addressed that topic to your satisfaction. I don't trust the Chinese folks, but I don't trust the United States government. I trust the people of the United States. I trust the 50 United States. I do not trust that little dirt pile. It's a shithole called Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. controls a very small amount of dirt, or I should say they occupy a very small amount of dirt while trying to control the entire planet. Doesn't make any sense. We got Damien English is back with a $10 super chat donation. He says, speaking of our home state of California, I was born in Sacramento the year before the Iron Curtain fell. Have you heard Kamala is campaigning for Newsom but can't do her own damn job? If we could get that one back in there, Jolene. Anyways, you were born in Sacramento. I was born over in Los Gatos in the Bay Area. Quite a bit earlier than you, sir. Right before the Iron Curtain fell. Now, Kamala is campaigning for Newsom in California. Kamala is from California, folks. She was the Attorney General and was the senator, junior senator in California before becoming the Vice President of the United States of America. She was a failed presidential candidate, but they decided to pull her up and put her in the big leagues. And she has utterly failed. You said she can't do her own damn job. Your thoughts? Yeah, she'll go and campaign for Newsom. What is she really doing there? She's trying to get big voter turnout. She is incredibly unpopular as a Democrat, especially with minorities. She should, you would think, be much more popular, but she's not. She's unresponsive. She is incharismatic or uncharismatic. But yeah, she should be doing her real job, which is being the vice president of the United States. What was the big #1 job? Oh yeah, the border crisis. The border. She was put in charge of the border down there, and we still have. And this is where the mainstream media has failed you, me, and all of America. The mainstream media is ignoring the border crisis, which never, ever, ever went away down there. California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. The Mexican-U.S. border has got illegal immigrants pouring across it still. There's no tests. There's no checking IDs. There's nothing. Just let them in, give them some money, send them wherever they want. Now, the other crisis that we have is over in Afghanistan, right? The Biden-Kamala. Remember when dipshit Biden was calling it the Biden-Harris administration? That's right. Months and months ago, right after he was elected, he started floating that Biden-Harris, knowing that he wasn't going to be there the full term. Anyways, yeah, she should be doing something, don't you think, as the vice president about what's going on in Afghanistan? Isn't there something more important than pandering to special interest groups in California in the hopes that Gavin Newsom is not recalled? And folks, nobody likes Gavin Newsom. The Democrats don't. If they vote no on the recall, it is basically out of partisan politics. And boy, folks, partisan politics, they are a big, big, big deal. No doubt, big deal. I tell you though, what a fucking mess. They're so worried about keeping their positions of power while they do absolutely nothing for the country. Just blows me away constantly. Frankie Rios is back with a $3 super chat donation. He says, denying medical care to an untaxed person is a real crime. I agree absolutely. They're starting to do this. They're starting to deny medical care to people who have refused the Jim Jones juice, who have not gotten the zombie juice, who have refused the hokey pokey. That is a crime, because wasn't it Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro Obama, who said that healthcare access is a human right and everyone deserves to have healthcare access. Access to healthcare. Go to a hospital and not be denied. Folks, we are all being lied to anyways. No hospital can turn anyone away, including illegal immigrants. And they know that. They actually know that. It is terrible. It is just absolutely terrible. But folks, it goes even worse than this. If you have not gotten the Jim Jones juice, the administration, the Biden administration, has ordered the Veterans Administration, the VA, to withhold health benefits from unvaccinated veterans. This came through the DelawareOhioNews.com site. I was shocked to hear that. Veterans who are in most need of medical attention are probably those who have been injured severely. These are people that we are supposed to take care of. But Biden orders the Veterans Administration, the VA, to withhold health benefits from unvaccinated veterans, while doctors around the country are saying, well, if you're not vaccinated, I'm not going to treat you. And I have heard personal reports that people go see their doctor, and the doctor, they ask the patient, have you gotten the hokey pokey? And the patient says no. And then the patient asks the doctor, have you gotten yours? And the doctors refuse to answer the question. And right now, folks, doctors, nurses, nurses assistant, other medical professionals, you know, there's a lot of people in there, folks, x-ray techs, nuclear medicine, there's all kinds of shit going on in hospitals. Other than just doctors and just nurses, there's a lot more people. They're walking off the jobs. They're leaving because they're being told you have to get the hokey pokey. Now, I've got another interesting story on this, though. In Kentucky, healthcare workers refused to comply with the mandate and forced the hospital to fire them, right? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, folks, thousands of medical professionals have quit all across the nation. Hospitals are now finding it hard to provide healthcare for patients. It's funny, though, how nurses and doctors and other workers, right, who are refusing the Jim Jones juice, they're supposed to be our real on-the-ground experts, aren't they? They aren't bureaucrats. They're not politicians. They're on-the-ground experts, and they don't want it. And they've seen and heard enough about it. And so they're quitting. But at this one particular hospital in Kentucky, the employees were very careful with their wording. The hospital employees were careful with their wording when they were trying to get rid of these two women who said, we're here to work. It was really interesting. What's going on is they don't want to fire them. They know, folks, that to obey the mandate, they have to fire these people. Well, a lot of people are just quitting, saying, fuck you. But other people are like, no, you're going to have to fire me. Fire me, right? Well, a security guy came out and talked to these two nurses and said, there was a choice. You chose not to take the vaccine, right? And so the women said, so then fire us, saying, we want a termination letter before we hand over our badges. Otherwise, we're still employees. You can't just tell us to go home. We're here, right? So this fight, this dispute, right? Eventually, they were told they're fired, and then they left the hospital. But they were fired, which means they're going to get their unemployment insurance, and they're also going to probably, more than likely, join in the lawsuit because this is illegal. They can be civilly sued for this, right? Because it is not. One second, let me think about the best way to word this so I don't get in trouble. There are too many lies, folks. There's too many lies out there. There is no real, there's no lawful mandate. It is nothing but words and hot air that's being acted upon. There is no lawful mandate. It is, again, politicians talking and hospitals and other businesses obeying words. They're allowed to lie to us, folks. Government officials, politicians, bureaucrats are allowed to lie to people legally and get away with it. We are subject to government propaganda. And so they say it's a mandate, even though it isn't a proper mandate. There is no legal right that the government has to force people to do anything. And it's mind-boggling that they double down, they triple down, they quadruple down. They can't admit that the government, are wrong. They can't admit that their experts have been lying. They can't admit, folks, that this is a weaponized bug. They can't admit to anything. They just put their head down and they keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Joe Biden, just a few days ago, came up with his bullshit mandate. And then he's going to go stand in front of the UN and mandate to the world the same thing. Why are they pushing this thing, which they say has been accepted by 70% of the population or 60% of the population? That is enough to get herd immunity, but they want everyone to take it. Why are they pushing so hard? Why are they lying so much? Right? If you have taken the Jim Jones juice, you should be immune to cerveza bug. So what me worry is what that person should be saying. Oh boy. Anyways, it's absolutely disgusting what is going on. We got Larry Luscombe checking in, and this is what he has to say. He says, opinion, will Larry Elder win? Thank you for that awesome $2 super chat. Leroy, I'll tell you what. Larry Elder should win. By the way, the two filthy pig left-wing communist scumbags that were assaulting and throwing objects at Larry Elder, eggs, are now in trouble and are being indicted on hate crimes. Larry Elder happens to be black, and he's running for California governor in this recall election. I think he can win because of a couple of factors. People in California, the economy is just in shambles and it's shit. The current governor, Newsom, is a lying pile of steaming horse shit. He is a hypocrite. He goes out to restaurants, doesn't wear masks, does whatever he wants, while the rest of the state is locked down. 40 million people in the state of California. Is that the number? 40 million, 36 million? It's a lot of millions, right? If I had $1 for every Californian out there, I'd have a lot of dollars. And I don't have that many dollars. Anyways, Gavin Newsom is so incredibly unpopular that Larry Elder could win. Now, what I don't think the people of California are aware of is exactly how conservative Larry Elder actually is. They might think that he might be like Arnold Schwarzenegger, that he's just kind of a rhino Republican. They may be fooled, and that, I think, is why the left wing is absolutely scared to death of Larry Elder, because there is a potential that he could get in there and really rock the state. And we'll see, right? We've been informed over the last 18, 20 months, almost 2 years now. We've been informed of how powerful governors actually are, what kind of power governors really have. And Larry Elder is electable. He is a great speaker. He has a radio talk show. Now, what would this do to the nation? How would Larry Elder being elected and replacing Gavin Newsom help SHTF? It won't. It may alleviate some of the problems, but the real damage, folks, the real damage has already been done. It's already been done. All right. We got Frankie Rios with a $5 super chat. He says, we will always win. We have the cheat sheet. God, guns, and good sense. I'm alive, and faith without works isn't. Catch my drift. Oh, we got Uman in the house. Hey, Uman. That's in the back channel. There's super secret screens inside screens, folks. It's really cool. So anyways, good to have you in there, Uman. Anyways, Frankie, I know what you mean by the cheat sheet. Okay. This is when I tell people, right? You need to have it right in your head and right in your heart, right? I say semper fi, which means always faithful to what you know is right, right? Right with yourself, right with God, right with the country, etc. So when you say we will always win, I do want to address that. I do not want anyone believing that shit hitting the fan here is going to be fun or easy. It has not been fun so far. It has not been easy so far. There are millions of people who are suffering. Incredible numbers of people suffering, and it hasn't reached its zenith, the high point. It has just begun. We're just now starting to see inflation. We're just now starting to see shortages. We're just now starting to see the effects of what has been done under the Biden administration. For example, the shortage of automobile and trucking parts. That extends. Trucking is what moves products around the country. Shortage of parts, and it looks like the truck drivers are just going to walk away as well because of the mandates, or they'll be fired. That's an incredibly independent and strong-minded group of people, folks, truckers. Also, farm equipment is big tractors, diesel engines, and they have parts. And I've heard it estimated that 90% of all of our automotive, trucking, and agricultural parts are manufactured overseas. And as they've tightened down the screws and fucked everything up with their cerveza bug lockdowns, they've made it worse. Right? You can't find new cars, not the way you used to be able to, because they can't finish them. It's a giant mess. We got a $5 super chat donation from NFK2 Killer. He says, know any doctors that have bad aim? That's a very good question. In my little world, I know no doctors who have bad aim. But I don't think we're going to get to that point. I mean, there's a lot of people who are looking for doctors that are going to miss. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then I apologize. But there's some things that I just don't feel comfortable stating directly. I don't know any. None have offered it for me. But I think that the fight, the real fight, is going to happen as they push these mandates on us. It's going to be a legal fight, and there could be a lot worse. The push by the Biden administration, under direction from the New World Order Illuminati types, is horrendous. It is unending, and they have no intention of stopping. They're going to push everything they can. If President Biden can mandate that you get the tequila shot, then what else can he mandate? No, he's trying to mandate that kids have to wear masks in school, and he's trying to mandate all sorts of shit. Under what authority is what I like to ask. Who gave him special authority to violate everyone's rights, their constitutional rights, their God-given rights, etc.? If he can mandate, folks, let me ask you this question. If he can mandate that you put something in your body, whatever happened to my body, my choice. But if he can mandate that they put something in your body against your will that you feel is unsafe and dangerous, can he mandate that guns, Second Amendment defense items, can he mandate that those be made illegal? Can he say, well, you know, guns and ammunition cross state lines, and if you don't get your Jim Jones juice, then we're going to come and confiscate your firearms? Why not? It's just one more step. They've already left the main road and are just going right into the shit swamp with all of their thinking. So why not? Why not, indeed? They've already talked about deprogramming, re-education camps. Before there was anything to do with cerveza bug, it was just, we need to put Republicans, Trump supporters, in re-education camps. They already had that concept in their head, folks. Now you take that kind of thinking and you combine it with the Führer Biden and his mandates. Well, if he can mandate one thing, he can mandate all kinds of shit, huh? Because they divide us into groups, then they demonize, they dehumanize certain members of America, like me and you. And then they can dispose of us, destroy us. A lot of D's in there. All right, we got $5 from Patty Prepper. Will they top SS for those who don't comply? It's hard for me to understand precisely what you mean by that. Will they top SS for those who don't comply? Well, the SS, right? That's the Hitler's army, right? The Gestapo, you have the SS. Will they top SS for those who don't comply? It's not coming to me, but will they stop Social Security? Thank you very much. Will they stop Social Security? They can, the federal government, they can claim that, well, that's a federal benefit. And so in order to apply for it or continue receiving that federal benefit, you must obey all of the orders. Now, I don't, for me, from my perspective, from my education and my work and experience with law, the answer is no, they can't. Because people that are collecting Social Security today entered into that agreement with the government decades and decades ago. What the government is doing right now is they're changing the rules of the game. They're making up the rules as they go. Now it's a big problem in law, and it's a big problem in life. Now, in contract law, everyone enters into an agreement, understanding the rules, and there's a certain performance and certain expectations on all parties. So if you entered into Social Security, which is a mandate, which I don't agree with. I don't think people should have to participate in Social Security, but we'll leave that as it is. You enter into it under certain stipulations, agreements, understandings. There was no, you have to take every vaccine that comes along, or you don't get your money. You see, so it's a breach of contract by the government. But it doesn't mean that they won't try, and it doesn't mean that they're not going to use strong arm tactics like that. Again, it is a fear tactic. Now, can the government make it real? You bet. They could stop issuing checks. But how is the Social Security Administration going to find the health records of everybody? Is everybody supposed to mail in a copy of their what universal card is out there that's accepted? What passport is available? Will a note from my doctor suffice? Will a note from my mother suffice? Little Johnny has gotten his tequila shot. Please give him his Social Security benefits. But no, they've threatened already. They've threatened to take Social Security, disability, and every and any federal benefit on the grounds that they can at any point decide to demand you comply with their new orders. I think it's unlawful because it's unilateral and dictatorial. It is anathema to anything having to do with freedom and rights. It is completely arbitrary. There's no fact, no science, no reason behind doing it. It has the appearance on its face of being political in nature. It's just utterly disgusting what's going on with this country. Yeah, they want to tell the VA to cut benefits. They want to say no more Social Security, no more disability. That's what our federal government thinks of you. You have rights, and they want you to abandon them for some money, for some benefit that you've already paid for. And that's the other thing. How do you sue the government? Breach of contract. It's a mess. It's a giant fucking mess. We've got a 556 super chat donation from Ron Stryker. It says, "Hey John, made a tough decision to stock up on food or medical. $200 later and got the stuff to plug up holes. I'm getting ready for I'm getting ready. Is anyone else?" Yes. Everyone should be getting ready. I have gotten many emails over the weekend asking. These are people I personally know. There's a lot of you who have backdoors into my world and saying, what should I do? What should I be more interested in? Food or ammunition or medical supplies, and it's getting scary. People are very serious. People are very serious. I know of one person who got another 2 combat loads of 5.56. He just felt he needs 2 more loads, 2 more combat, 600 rounds. People are buying as much as they can, and instantly the ammunition suppliers out there have gone to, well, there's going to be a week delay or a 2-week delay or up to a 3-week delay on getting shipments of ammunition. You see, there's nothing. This has been interesting. Anytime they talk about the Second Amendment, gun sales go off the hook, ammunition sales go off the hook. And anytime, right, the federal government now decides they're going to mandate more, The instant reaction is a Second Amendment reaction. Whether they're talking about guns or talking about medicine or talking about what they did in Afghanistan, instantly Americans go, sounds like I need to buy more ammunition. But medical supplies are really important. A very good first aid kit is something I recommend. You can get them off the shelf. We used to have some really good ones for sale at thepreparedmind.club, but Amazon fucked all that up for us. But I recommend making sure you have blood clot, right? Plugging up holes, stopping bleeding. And the other thing that's really important is antibiotics. If your fish or dog get an infection, you're going to want to give them some antibiotics to make sure they don't suffer a serious infection. I still and always have recommended having a Davis's drug guide on hand or a pharmaceutical book, right? Because you may end up with a prescription drug and you need to know what it's supposed to treat, right? You don't want to misapply or treat someone improperly because there may be a shortage of doctors and nurses. You may be having to do some serious first aid. And again, first aid is designed and intended to keep someone alive, patch them up until you can get them to a professional medical person. Isn't it interesting, though, that now professional medical people are being chased out of their professions? It kind of smells and tastes funny when I kind of think about it and chew on those words. The one thing we're going to need more of as shit hits the fan, gets worse, is doctors and nurses. The one thing that they're chasing out of those professions is doctors and nurses, right? As they bring the system down. All right, we got $25 from Daniel Haas in the super chat donation bin. Thank you, Daniel. He says, I love this channel. What this world needs is more rednecks. Charlie Daniels had it right a long time ago. Love me some Charlie Daniels and rest in peace, right? What this world needs is more rednecks. You would be, I think there's a misconception among people who live in a city what a redneck is. Or maybe there's not a misconception. I just think there is. But they're good folks. They don't give a shit what color you are or anything. They're the country folks, rednecks, right? They just get it done, and they don't give a fuck. That's another thing about rednecks. They don't give a fuck. They know the difference between right and wrong, and they don't give a fuck. The world does need a few more rednecks. This is Machiavelli Customs checks in. He said, Bear is in here promoting his company. Who is Bear? Bear Grylls? Who is Bear? Thank you, Machiavelli Customs. I don't know who Bear is. Who the fuck is Bear? We got $5 from Crazy Uncle. He says, prepper tip, make sure your PMCS your gear. Make sure you PMCS your gear and your supplies. It is always the little things, like vermin, that cause the biggest headaches. My recommendation is make sure your gear is organized. In 10 minutes, I could be dressed fully 100% in combat gear, body armor, magazines, freedom seed spreaders, etc., etc. You need to be organized, and you need to make sure that your gear is protected from vermin. Yes, that is very important. People are going to discover what's going on, and they're going to wake up. I just hope it isn't too late for them. For you, you're already awake. For you, you're already prepared. That makes me feel really good. I just wish there were more people, and that's why I ask you, share videos, share the links, share the ideas, get it out there. Let people make the decision for themselves. But around the country, people know things aren't good. Things are not good. They're starting to figure it out. That's why we're going to see more shortages. You're going to start to see the meat counter, right? There's going to be less meat there. Is that because the meat processors aren't doing their job? Well, partially. but the prices are going up. But so people are buying more, thinking and seeing that there's going to be a shortage. Look out. We got 556 from Bernard Shreve Jr. He says, I am going for the immunity test. Lawyer on standby. But my shop is way smaller than 100, and we are down to 10 people from 15. Okay, I've heard some very interesting things come out of this. People are lining up to sue the ever-loving shit out of any organization, government or private, that forces or attempts to force people to get this hokey pokey. Now it's supposed to be anything, any small business over 100, but that is going to affect other businesses. I know some people that have put in objections to the mandate based on their religious beliefs, and that the companies they are working for have decided to build a committee to consider their religious objections. This flies in the face of the Constitution, the Federalist Papers, and every argument ever made, because that is a religious test. That is a religious test, to have a committee decide whether or not you truly have a religious objection or not, to test your religious objection against their biases. See, that was the idea behind the First Amendment, is the government shall make no law abridging the rights we have, free speech, religion, etc. Because it can be preferential at that point. It can be discriminatory. And that's exactly what they're looking at. Is this person, do you have to go to a church? Do you have to pay tithings? What if you only pay 5% and they want to see 10%? What if these religious committees deciding who gets to have an actual religious objection? What if they don't like, for example, Scientologists? What if they don't like Jehovah's Witnesses? What if they're, because different denominations have opinions about other denominations, Seventh-day Adventists, Mormons. They get to tell me that I don't have a strong faith. I don't belong to any church, yet I can come up with 100 religious objections to anything that these people say. Do you have to go to a church? Do you have to belong to a church? Who the fuck are they to say? Right? This is incredible, folks, where it's going. It is a very long, winding, twisted, dark road. And it heads to deep, deep waters. Right? The abyss is not a pretty scene where these people are taking this shit. Thank you very much, Bernard. I tell you, these people out here are absolute scum. Now, we got Andrew Moore. He says, William C. with a 308 Super Chat donation. Thank you, William C. No question there. Just a 308 donation. One of my favorite calibers. Okay. Do we have any other Super Chats, or am I going to move on to this story that just occurred to me to cover? I'm going to do that. This is a quote. We need to be more scary to the public. We need to inflate the real cerveza bug numbers. Folks, that was a Zoom meeting from a hospital in North Carolina where doctors discussed inflating their cerveza bug numbers by counting patients who recovered from cerveza bug as being active patients. We need to be more scary to the public. If you don't get vaccinated, you know you're going to die. That's what they said, literally. They're conspiring, folks, in hospitals. Absolutely stunning. That was a courtesy of the citizensfreepress.com. We have Mr. Skylight checking in with $99.99 Super Chat donation. Thank you, Mr. Skylight. And thank you for all your work behind the scenes, helping the R Syndicate and the Prepared Mind Network. I did not get to read Mr. Skylight's quote of the week. Anyways, yeah, these doctors, folks, they're scary. He says, yo, bro, you're laying it down. We got your 6. Pow, you bet. Thank you, Mr. Skylight. I appreciate your support every week, every day, in fact, day in and day out. Just absolute wild mess, folks. Where do we go next? Hey, BG Guns has checked in. I hope things are well in Texas, man. He says, keep up the good work, Big John. Yes, sir, will do, BG. And you as well. I hope you found a nice, tight community to hunker down in. And look out. Look out. This one is touched me a lot. And I've been watching this from afar. And I'll get to it because Shelly Chavers has a super chat donation. Super chat, $10 super chat, says, this is in response to Chicken Prepper a while back. You asked John what to do when they come and get us. I know what I will do. Call out for Jesus' help. He will help you. That's a big deal, folks. Your faith. Whatever your faith is, it's really important. Have it. Right? I don't fear any of this stuff. I don't really like the idea of being in severe and chronic pain. I don't like the idea of being sick. I certainly don't like the idea of being poisoned intentionally. I don't like the idea of being poked full of holes by a bunch of communists. And I certainly don't like the idea of being beaten and arrested and then held captive by my own government merely for wanting to express my opinion and to live as a free human being. I don't want any of that. So I have my faith and I take it everywhere. You know, you can beat my head in, but you can't beat the faith out of me. Anyways, thank you very much, Shelly. That's it is sound advice. Very good advice. Folks, the courage of your convictions. What do you believe? Know in your head as well as your heart what you believe. That's your faith. Semper Fi, always faithful. All right, now, this story I've been following is the story of Herschel Walker. Heisman Trophy winner, incredible, gifted athlete, went on to an incredible career in the National Football League and is a Republican, a strong supporter of Donald Trump because he knows him. He's a personal friend of President Trump's. And back when all of the accusations were flying that Donald Trump is a Nazi and he's a racist and a white supremacist, and Herschel Walker stood up and said, no, it's all a bunch of shit. It's a bunch of lies. And then it was announced that Herschel Walker is going to run as a senator in the state of Georgia. And guess what, folks? As usual, the Democrats called him every dirty name in the book, maligned his character, attacked him. And he's running anyway. He has President Trump's support. But the thing that came to my attention this weekend is that his son, Christian Walker, the son of Herschel Walker, is Christian Walker, another handsome young man, very smart, well-spoken. And he says he is his father's #1 fan. And that just about brings a tear to my eye when you hear that a son loves his father that much, or his mother. It's just great. Or a daughter that does the same, right? He says he's his dad's #1 fan, and his father is going to kill it and win the Georgia Senate seat because he loves Georgia. Herschel Walker loves Georgia. And that Raphael Warnock, the Democrat, is a communist. Folks, the youths out there, and by the way, we're up over 1,200 people live right now. That's fucking awesome. Anyways, Christian Walker is another young, freedom-oriented American. And he sees who the enemy of America is, and they are communists and fascists. They're all socialists, but they are all also enemies of America. And he said Raphael Warnock is a communist. And any young man or woman that sees what communists are, understands what they do, their history, how they operate, and Christian Walker knows his dad is going to kick some ass. So, Godspeed to Herschel Walker, and I hope he wins that seat, and I'm sure he will, folks. All right, we got the Rolling Thunder checking in with a $7 super chat donation. He says, where I live, it appears that staffing has been thin, but getting worse, even though unemployment ended. It feels creepy and makes no sense. This is bad. I think I understand what you're saying. Businesses can't seem to hire people. They're cutting off the unemployment. People have done a lot of shuffling around. People live with friends. They move back in with family to reduce expenses. People don't want to work in this economy. They're doing a lot of John Galting. The government doesn't like black market economies because they don't get taxes. People are learning how to live without the government. They're learning to live by their own means and methods. They would rather sit at home and make money doing, I don't know what. But they would rather do that than go to work for a government that absolutely despises them, piles bullshit regulations on them. And I see it too, folks, even in the area I'm in, which is largely free. Because of all of the bullshit interference the government has caused, all of the lies, people are like, you know what, fuck it. I don't want to participate in this system anymore. I don't want to support it. And they may not put it quite like that. They may not articulate their position. They just know that the United States is being run by a bunch of psychopaths. And they don't want to participate. Anyways, yeah, it does have kind of a creepy feeling that people need money. People need jobs. People have bills to pay. Shit costs money, right? And they're not willing to go to work. Crazy stuff. It is bad. And here's the deal, sir. I think it's going to get a lot worse. It's bad now, and it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Now, back to what is going on following with Christian Walker's statements. General Mike Flynn has spoken up this weekend and says that he gave a warning. He said that the nation is being overtaken. There's a coup, right? It's being overtaken by a small but powerful group of Marxists. And he's stating loudly with what America is coming to grips with, right? Communism on steroids, right? And this is a quote from General Flynn. He says, the bigger 60,000-foot strategic view, imagine being at 60,000 feet and looking down, right? You're going to see big patterns instead of small details. He says the 60,000-foot strategic view is that the country is being taken over by a very small minority of people that we call the left, which are really a group of Marxists and communists who have decided over decades, now is the time to do it. And they did. The most important thing there that I found was that he said, now is the time to do it. And they did. These commie Marxist fascist scumbag left-wingers. It's a very small group, right? It's the political class. It is the political class. And General Flynn also says Americans are tired of all the lies. That is true. That's true. The lies, folks. Also, the left has the mainstream media. This very powerful but small group uses money, extortion, bribery, lies, threats, everything it can to silence opposition and force others to obey them. Now, you can see how well they've done with me, getting me to shut up and obey them. Doesn't work because I'm not afraid of them. I don't think you should be either. They really are a small group. They really are a very small group, but they are incredibly powerful. These are the George Soros, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Zark Muckerberg. I like calling him that even when I can say Mark Zuckerberg. Zark Muckerberg. All of these Jack Dorsey type scumbags out there. Big businesses like Coke, right? Coca-Cola, Woca-Cola, Joca-Cola, saying that, you know, you're too white. That's what they're saying to the white people. You know, stop being so white. Are you fucking kidding? We're tired of this woke social justice, social equity bullshit. Americans are tired of all the lies. But now they've pushed, the political left has just pushed over on top of us all their incredible agenda. And again, right, General Flynn says they have decided, after decades and decades of putting themselves in position, after decades of getting into state and federal positions in the judicial, in the legislature, in the bureaucracy, now is the time to pull the trigger, to do it. And they did, folks. They pulled the fucking trigger, did they not? Oh yeah, they did. Cerveza bug. They just started the SHTF, and it's been just a shitstorm ever since. All right, we got Steve Conlon from England, jolly old England. Hey, Steve, semper fi to you, and I hope everything's well there across the pond. He does a £5 super chat donation. He says, in jolly old England, the government have just announced that COVID passports will not be introduced. God bless you there, Steve. I hope you had something to do with helping them come to the right decision. And here's what I say to that. Keep fighting back, Steve. Don't stop now. Don't say, okay, we got rid of that. No, they're going to try it again. They'll try it again. They'll try it again. They'll try it again. They're always going to keep trying and pushing more shit, different shit. But yeah, England dropped the vaccine passport plan. Because now what I heard is the Tories? I don't know your politics as well as I know my own politics here in this country, but there was the belief that it was going to create a second-class citizenry, and so that was a big reason for dropping it. If that was the reason or if that was the excuse, I think that's great. What I actually believe in my own little head is that the good people of England, not the government, I don't like governments, I like the good people of countries. The good people of England were saying, we're not fucking doing it. I don't think enough people were signing up for it and getting involved in it and supporting it. I think there was a massive, massive outpouring of objection to that bullshit. And God bless England for doing that and convincing their government to back the fuck up. So England has dropped their vaccine passport plan, and I hope it stays that way. But don't count on it. These people are sneaky, rotten bastards. And I trust a British politician about as far as I trust an American one. All right, we got Crazy Uncle with a $20 super chat donation. And this is what he has to say. It is strange that people in charge forgot the phrase, quote, nice until we are not, end quote. Even the Crusades, where after 200 plus incursions, the Catholics, Christians said, okay, now you're fucked. 2 Crusades was enough to stop all of that shit. The people in charge, they do forget that the people that they are supposed to be serving, right, are the ones who are actually in charge. And we, the people, have entrusted government with certain responsibilities, right? And the people will obey. They'll put up with a lot. They'll tolerate all kinds of shit, but only to a certain point. In other words, they're going to be nice until they are not. Now, that not, the word not there, they'll be nice until they are not. That's when that switch flips, right? When that switch flips, then you've got a real problem. I like to think of this a certain way, right? When the government is pushing on the people and they're nice, they start with protests. They shout, they scream, they yell, you're violating our rights, they protest. And the government makes more and more and more demands. And the people then refuse to comply. And then after that comes violence, usually started by the government. In every case that I can think of in history, it wasn't until the government became violent that the people would stand up and say, we were nice and now we're not going to be nice anymore. And when that happens, right, then it's really a shit it's the fan moment. Very, very, very scary world. But anyways, great point to make. Thank you, Crazy Uncle. Appreciate the donation. And we're going to plug along here. Dollar Cost Backpacker. All right. Says, hey, Big John, I inconsistently listen to your show. Have you changed your mind about crypto? Overpriced but necessary? My feelings on crypto have remained largely consistent. I like things that are real. You could say gold has certain value based on its rarity. It's been money for millennia. It's also something that you can hold. It has utility. That is, it can be used in electronics, gold teeth, jewelry. It is a sign and evidence of power and wealth. Same with silver, gold and silver being money. Crypto, you know, if you want to play with crypto, that's fine. I don't see it as money, though. And they started with it, calling it cryptocurrency and saying it's anonymous and it can't be regulated and you don't pay taxes on it. And now it's not anonymous. The government knows who has it. If you sell it, you have to pay taxes on any capital gains. And it's not really a currency. Is it a store of value? I don't think in the proper sense it's a store of value, in as much as, you know, you could say, well, it takes the equivalent of 100 gallons of gas to make electricity to create a Bitcoin, say. Well, I can take 100 gallons of gas and plow a field back and forth 1,000 times and get nothing out of it. It doesn't do. Saying it's a store of value because the amount of energy it took to create it, to me, it says that's a huge waste of energy to create that. I understand having something that is very secure, like a safe, for example. A safe, you know, that you open up and you put your money in and your guns and you shut the door and you spin the combination and it's safe. That's where the this blockchain super duper technology for securing something. But I see Bitcoin as an empty safe, because it has no value other than it's secure in and of itself. But it has no other utility, no other purpose than to say it's a safe thing. But if the electricity goes out, you can't get to it. If they kill the internet, you can't get to it. And if it's made illegal by the government, meaning they can regulate it, and anything they can regulate, they can make illegal. You can't hold it. You can't take it out of the internet and keep it in your own little private internet. I'm just not a fan of it. And as such, I don't want to invest in it. It is a speculative instrument. I see it as that. If you want to invest in it as a speculative thing, that is hoping for someone to think it's worth more money than what you paid for it, and therefore you get to realize a profit when you sell it. But a lot of people really like it, and a lot of people have made big bucks, I hear. I understand that. I just don't see any purpose to it beyond it's a super highly technical tulip bulb. You know, it's it's an alpaca, it's a chinchilla, it's an ostrich, right? These things that were thought to be worth tens of thousands of dollars, you know, and then they turn out to be worth absolutely nothing. You know, it's a craze, it's a mania. And anyways, that's how I feel about them. If you want to speculate in them, it's cool. It's fine by me. Do whatever you want. But in order to spend cryptocurrency, you have to convert it back into dollars and then go spend those dollars. So it's not quite a currency. All righty. We got to Florida checks in. Haven't heard from Florida in a while. Says, I had a super chat as well asking about the polio vaccine mandate back when that went down and whether or not it was upheld by the Supreme Court. I don't know if there was a polio vaccine mandate. I think what they came up with was a polio vaccine that worked. And it was demonstrated to work. And people that got the polio vaccine didn't get polio because it worked. And so other people noted that the polio vaccine worked, and the people who got the polio vaccine didn't get polio ever again. And so they decided over a number of years, it became more popular and desired to get the polio vaccine because it worked. The polio vaccine is a good thing. Having polio could leave you sick or crippled. But the polio vaccine worked, and there were no known side effects to it. And it worked. Twinkle Toes checks in with a $4.99 super chat donation. Thank you, Twinkle Toes. That's a nickname, kind of a joke that Twinkle Toes used to be around. You would say something. This is back in the 80s and 70s, maybe even before that. You know, hey, Twinkle Toes, right? And the closest person or mental image I could put to Twinkle Toes is Fred Flintstone when he's bowling. He gets up on his toes and it makes that little noise, and he'd throw the bowling ball. Twinkle Toes, kind of like being light in the loafers, if you know what I mean. Eric S. checks in with a 762 super chat donation. He says, government is not reason. It is not eloquence. It is force. Like fire is a dangerous servant and a fearful master. That is a quote from George Washington, who was the Continental General of the colonial army. He was also the first president under the United States Constitution. And he was a great philosopher as well, and a Freemason, interestingly enough. George Washington, a very interesting cat. I think he was also said to be a slave owner, and he was also against the idea of slavery. It's a weird world, folks. There's a lot of weird shit that has happened and gone on, but this quote here, government is not reason, it is not eloquence, it is force. Like fire, it is a dangerous servant and a fearful master. Never have I heard, well, I've heard a lot of wisdom, but that's right up there with it, especially when it comes to discussing government. And then we got Mike Landakos with a $10 super chat donation. He says, I saw a video recently where an analyst went through the birth rates, death rates, and determined based on historical data that only around 250,000 Jews were actually killed, not 6 million. Okay, now this is a subject that can get people really riled up, really angry, and get people in trouble. What I have noticed is from the time I went to school, grade school, we learned about the Holocaust. Back, I think I was in 7th grade. It was 7th grade because in 8th grade, we had to do the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence and pass that in order to move on to high school. So in 7th grade, I learned about the Holocaust, the Jewish people that were killed by the Nazis. And back then, the number was 4 million. And now it is up to 6 million, according to the experts. Now, there are people, and they are often called Holocaust deniers. And they'll put out numbers that are lower. So you report that someone shows 250,000. I don't know what the real number is, folks. I do know that concentration camps existed. There were hundreds and hundreds of concentration camps all over Europe. Anywhere that the Italians and the Germans, the Nazis, wherever they took control, they took the people that they didn't like, folks. They took the people that they didn't like. and they put them in these camps. They split off who they didn't like. They divided them. They dehumanized them, and they put them in these camps. Many of them died and were destroyed. Very bad business. But our government is talking about doing the same thing right now. The Soviet Union did the same thing with people they didn't like. Now, I am not a Holocaust denier, but I do know that politicians and special interest groups lie about everything because it suits their purpose and their need and their mission. What I do know is that a lot of Jews ran concentration camps, and that there were certain Jewish sects that were not persecuted by the Nazis. So it's a very, I've read these things. What is the actual truth? I don't know, because everyone who was alive at that time is dead. So we end up with reports and news and stuff like that. It's a fascinating topic, but it's also a horrific topic to consider because of what government does. And I think this is more key and more important than it being about or not about Jews and how many Jews were or were not killed, or how many blacks, or how many Africans, or how many Romani, or how many other these minor ethnic groups. See, Europe is full of, it's dozens of countries at one point. And then within each country, there are little tribal organizations or tribal groups or ethnicities within each country that are hated by the others. They're very tribal. Europeans are very tribal. You can tell they have an incredible number of languages in Europe. You have Portuguese, Spanish, French, Italian, German, Dutch, English, Scottish. Love the Scots. If they still speak Gaelic there, I don't know. But you got the Swedes, the Finns, Norway. Then you got all the Slavic countries, and they all have their own language. And you get into Belarus, Lithuania, Estonia. All these places have languages, and then dialects, and then little groups and organizations. So they've always whoever's in charge, government is the real problem, folks. Not the Jews, not this group, not that group. The problem is government. Those with power who finally decide it's time to push our agenda, and they start attacking one group or another, or several groups. And it just so happened that Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party, they had a thing in it for the Jews, and so they did suffer mightily. Let us move on with Rolling Thunder and a $7 super chat donation. He said, in a Twilight Zone episode, a man's neighbors fight to get into his shelter once panic hits. Locals, be it city or country folks, will want your stuff. Oh yeah, we've done many videos of this on the past. A lot of people did. Your neighbors, if they're not preppers, are not going to be happy knowing that you have stuff when they don't. And so they could end up turning on you. So it's best to, one, keep your stockpile secret. If someone says you're a prepper, you can say, oh yeah, I've got enough, cans of pork and beans to last a month. You can tell them you got a month's worth of food, and tell them they should have a month's worth of food too. And you can tell them that, I don't have any more food than that. So if you come to me and try and take my last can of pork and beans, I'm going to fucking shoot you. Right. And that lets them know, okay, he only has some pork and beans. Is it worth dying over a can of pork and beans? Right. But then there's also the family issue. Family members that know you're a prepper. And they'll, hey, yeah, that's funny, man. Yeah, you be a prepper, I won't. And when shit hits the fan, I'm coming to your house. Right. That's one of our most popular videos we've ever done, is I'm coming to your house when shit hits the fan. Way, way back at the very beginning. Back in 2014, I made that video. Anyways, Rolling Thunder, very true. Folks are going to want your stuff. Operational security. Shh, mum's the word. Anyone who knows I'm a prepper, I've got 2 months worth of baked beans and I will fight you tooth and nail to death over my baked beans because they're Bush's baked beans. All right, we've got Damien English with a $20 super chat again. He says, any form of government becomes destructive of these ends. It is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government. When does this time come? When? I can tell you we're a lot closer today than we were yesterday. And we're a lot closer today than we were a year ago. But if you go back 10 years, it would seem like an impossibility. 10 years ago, as bad as Obama was, things are bad, but do we need to get in a big revolution? Nah, we can put up with this shit. Now it's to the point where they want to take your job, destroy your family, destroy your reputation, take your retirement, deny all benefits, and then come and hold you down and inject you full of poison. If someone came at you or me or anyone else with a big old hypodermic full of Clorox bleach, would you be inclined to fight them tooth and nail? Or would you say, yeah, go ahead. I guess there's 3 of you and just 1 of me. And if you want to stab me full of Clorox bleach, go right ahead. No. This is where we're at. This is where we're at. And it's not just Clorox bleach that we're afraid of, folks. It's government saying you don't have a right to free speech. It's government working with corporations to take your rights, to destroy your life, to ruin your career, your job, your retirement. When people get uncomfortable enough, folks, when they're hurt and suffering enough, that's when they fight back. 1999, Bear Independent. Yo, John, let's chat offline and see about a collab. We share a lot of subs and an appreciation for a good stick. All right, Bear Independent, let's do that. Get your email to Jolene and we'll do some chit-chatting. Sounds good to me. We do have some rules, though, and I think that's why that had popped up there. I was like, who the Bear who? Bear Grylls? We do have some rules. Anyways, yeah, let's do that for now. I've got another 18 minutes before I'm going to need to go, folks. So we're going to try and snap through all of your stuff. I have an appointment, a meeting to go to. So anyways, we got 999 Red Pill Files says Senator Wendy Rogers recently told the Arizona Secretary of State, and Wendy Rogers is a veteran and a state senator from Arizona. And she says, you're going to the slammer. Wow, the Arizona tax audit results are coming soon. There's a lot of big problems with the tax audits that have been going on, namely in the state of Arizona. What is, you can say, disenchanting. What is upsetting, disenchanting about what is happening is that it takes so fucking long. Right? We're almost 1 year into this. And a lot of us have our belief systems, and they're based on anecdotal reports or a story or some video footage. But the Arizona tax audit has demonstrated across many levels using forensic auditing techniques to demonstrate that there's a lot of tax fraud. And so if Wendy Rogers is telling the Secretary of State, you're going to the slammer, it's with good cause. The Secretary of State there has acted like both the governor, the Attorney General, the Secretary of State, and as President of the United States, essentially doing everything she could to stop the tax audit. And so that is interference with official government business. I don't know why she's already not in the slammer, but I think a lot of this has to do with politicians being scumbags and getting away with everything. All right, we've got $5 coming from Mike Lacoste. He says, watch Dr. Bregan at InfoWars. It's all over. I recommend that everybody do the best they can and find InfoWars so they can watch. Go and find Dr. Mercola and listen to what he and his guests say. Find Mike Adams and listen to what he and his guests all say regarding Cerveza bug Jim Jones juice. And what is going on? When you say it's all over, I agree. But for me, it's been all over. Bone in that water. It's been all over for me, almost from the very beginning, where I was like, that's it. This is bullshit. It's a fucking lie. It's all a trick. I don't believe any of it. I would like there to be such conclusive evidence. Well, actually, the conclusive evidence is in. It's all over, except the lying. And maybe that should be a new phrase. It's all over except for the lying, because that's what this whole system is resting on now. Lies, 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 and more lies. That's all they do is lie. The media is lying. Politicians are lying. The experts are all lying, folks. They're lying their asses off. It's all over but the lying. And they double down, triple down, quadruple down on their lies as they push and push and push and mandate. What can you do? Well, you can have your faith and the courage of your convictions and stand fast and fight them tooth and nail. It's your life after all. Crazy Uncle is back with a $5 super chat donation. He says, I forgot who said it, but remember, quote, they are desperate. That makes them dangerous. And he's referring to with this to the unprepared. Now, very quickly on that one, Crazy Uncle, the unprepared, they're desperate and they're dangerous. They're also going to be hungry, likely sick, maybe injured. They're going to be ill-informed, untrained, unprepared, unaware. There are a lot of uns for the unprepared, folks. If they're sick, injured, malnourished, weak, tired, they're not going to be thinking very well, and they aren't going to be able to physically react very well. Right? The difference between a fighter in the first round of a boxing match and the last round of a boxing match. They're slow, they're sluggish, right? If you are eating well, well-nourished, you're well-prepared, well thought out, right? The prepared mind, well-planned, and you're not injured, you're not sick, you're going to be able to keep yourself in a position far superior to those who are not. And that is a benefit to being prepared. You're in your right mind, while they are desperate and dangerous. Truth Faction, John Bear is one of the best men I wish to know personally, right after you. Awesome, dude. That must be the Bear dude. Anyways, thank you, Truth Faction. We're definitely going to do what we can, folks. We need to build a bigger, stronger prepper community out here, and that's what the Prepared Mind Network is about, and the rsyndicate.com. The R Syndicate, thank you, Uman, for putting all of that together. That is your resource for all things prepper, right? You go there and all the prepper sites are there. And Uman did that, not to make $1 million, but to help everyone out. That's his contribution, and God bless him for it. All right. Rolling Thunder checks back in with a $5 super chat donation, and we're at 1,267 people live. We're closing in on 2 hours, folks. That's incredible. That's more people than Joe Biden gets for one of his stupid fucking 5-minute broadcasts on YouTube. No one wants to hear what the jackass has to say. And if they show up at his YouTube site, it's just to hit the thumbs down. So yeah, we kick ass here. And I want to thank everyone for participating, sharing, getting along, helping others, doing what preppers do, right? Helping other patriots. All righty, so we got Rolling Thunder. He says, I have not seen the Songbird movie, but Australia can't be far off at this point. Australia, oh, our brothers and sisters down in Australia, I can't tell you how bad I feel. They have wellness camps, right? They're being assaulted on the street. They're being fined. They're being locked in their homes. Their government is absolutely out of fucking control in Australia. Absolutely off their rockers, stupid. I think Australia is one of the New World Order's test spots to see how they can fare in America based on how they fare in Australia. by attacking Australians, who are very much like us Americans, folks, very much. You know, they've got their rednecks. I don't think they call them rednecks, but they've got an outback, folks, which is the shit. Anyways, Australia's in big, big, big trouble. They have been also largely disarmed. And for some reason, and I don't understand the mentality of law enforcement in Australia, that they just start beating on their people. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't know why police need to beat on good people who are protesting masks. It can't be, or maybe it is, that the Australian police aren't aware of what a sham it is that they're participating in. Because it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's not a big secret. But then again, you know, here on the Prepared Mind Network, I am able to collect a lot of information. And I've learned an awful lot about what is being done. And perhaps the people and police of Australia don't see what I see. But if the people are objecting to lockdowns, mask mandates, and the Jim Jones juice, and for those of you who don't know what the Jim Jones juice is, back in the 70s, there was a religious cult that was started in the United States and got in some trouble. And they decided to buy some land down in French Guiana, which is in South America. And all of their people went to this place, this religious cult. And they prepared a poisonous concoction. And they put it in Kool-Aid. So it's the drink the Kool-Aid. That's where that came from. Hey, are you drinking the Kool-Aid? They told them, you know, drink the Kool-Aid. Everybody drank the Kool-Aid and everybody died. Men, women, and children. And that's the saga of Jim Jones, the short version. I will not drink their Kool-Aid, folks. I will not drink their Jim Jones juice. Crazy stuff. Anyways, let's do this. The people are waking up, folks. And that's good. That's really good. We need more people in government to wake up to what the truth is and say, hey, we're not going to participate in this bullshit lie anymore. Okay. Unfortunately, it's a partisan thing. The left-wing assholes, they don't care what the truth is and they don't care what the facts are. They support their left-wing lunatic leadership. Now, over here on the normal people side, I don't believe anybody, right? I don't trust any government, even if they're Republican or conservative or libertarian. I'm still going to check everything they say. I'm going to check it to see if it's true, what is the agenda, who benefits, et cetera, right? But on the left, they just love their leadership. Well, they're starting to lose faith a little bit. But here's the deal, folks. There was a Trailer Fight Club event. There was a big fight in Florida, and Trump was like a guest commentator. That's right. President Trump, who lives in Florida, was a guest commentator, and the crowd all faced him and started shouting, "We love Trump. We love Trump." And it humbled him. You know, people love Trump. Meanwhile, more football fans this weekend were chanting, "Fuck Joe Biden." Right? People in groups. Now, I think what they're going to do is they're going to stop allowing football games, baseball games, hockey games, basketball games. They're going to shut it all down. They're going to lock it down and separate people. Because people at sporting events are getting together and they're looking around. They're going, hey, who supports Trump? Who supports Biden? And they're figuring shit out. Kind of like that guy last week, the veteran last week, who stood up at a fucking Golden Corral, I think. Like stood up on a table and said, did anyone in here vote for Biden? And nobody said yes. And he just went on with this rant and explanation. People, when they get into groups, this is what the government doesn't like. They don't like this group right here, the Prepared Mind Network. They don't like us talking because right now there's 1,236 of us all hearing the same words. And that is that the country thinks Biden is a fucking asshole. And they're starting to talk to each other and chant it even out loud. Fuck Joe Biden. Now, 10 years ago, it was insane to think that people would do that. 20 years ago, completely unheard of to hurl that kind of an insult at anyone in politics. But now people are publicly doing it. You drive down the road, there's fuck Biden flags. There's Trump flags and banners in people's yards still, even though the election is a year ago. Even though, Gigi Biden is at the White House. People still call President Trump because they think of him as President Trump. And they love the Trumpster because he is so much better than Joe Biden. And so we're going to continue to see it's going to be a phenom to watch develop. And they're going to want to lock down. Remember the people that were unfurling the Trump won banners at baseball games? Right, that guy finally got told, you're kicked out. I hope that someone is still doing it. I just haven't seen much of that in the news. But the people in the stands were laughing their asses off because they see these Trump won banners unfurled. Right. Oh, let's see. Yeah, we don't want to politicize sports, but the first thing the fucking sports people do is politicize it by taking a knee and turning their back on the flag, and then making people wear masks in the stadium. Completely fucking political. Completely political. So fuck them. They don't want politics in the stadium, then why did they start it? All right, we got Bernard Shreve Jr. with a $5 super chat. And folks, I want to thank everyone for hitting that super chat button and contributing to the Get the Fuck Back and Stay Back, the GTFB and SB fund, which keeps me right here in this glamorous bunker. It's beautiful. He says, I have to tell you this. Some of the Australians are going past 14 days at the Covey Hotel and at $2,000 to $6,000 in their expenses. That's terrible, folks. So if you get cerveza bug in Australia, you get to go to their wellness hotel, their health hotel, and then you get to pay for it. And it sounds like they're saying, yeah, they're gonna hold them there. So we got the blue collar bicentennial with a $5 super chat. He says, John, as the tide whips our asses into shape, will we not stand up before we become Australia, trying to dry in this cabin in the mountain before SHTF? I tell you what, if someone knocks on my door, hey, John, we're here with your Jim Jones juice, I'm not going to answer the door. If someone kicks in the door, I'm going to assume that they're there to murder me or attempt to murder me, and I'm going to be able to respond in kind. If they do what? If they go out to the stores and they don't allow people into the stores unless they have evidence, state proof evidence certification that I got the Jim Jones juice, well, then I'm going to get really hungry. And there's going to be a problem there. There's going to be a problem with all of us if we get very hungry, if they shut this country down further. And I think they're going to do it, folks. That's why you need to be prepared now, ahead of time. Have your food set aside because there's going to be interruptions in the food supply. Have the ability to purify water because they're going to fuck that up too. Everything they're going to fuck up. All righty, we're at the 2-hour mark, folks. I want to thank all of you for coming to the Prepared Mind channel to participate in the zoo. It is an honor. It is a thrill. And it is a fucked up situation we're all having to deal with. And man, it just pisses me off that they've done this to our country. They have done it to us, folks. We were busy working, paying our taxes, obeying the law, raising our children, our families, living the American dream. And they went and fucked it all up on us on purpose. I'm pissed off about it. I know you are too. And yes, eventually, right, someone's going to have to pay the bill. They've done a lot of damage. The government in Washington, D.C., and the experts, they have fucked it all up on us. And I don't want revenge, folks. I don't want to do anything harmful or dangerous or incite it or glamorize it. I just know that there's going to be hell to pay, and it pays to be a prepper. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Godspeed to you all. Semper Fi, and I'll be back. This week, folks, is going to be nasty. Nasty. So get prepared. Godspeed.